And that decision on whether to vaccinate them has really been finely balanced. The chief medical officers accept that the health benefits themselves are marginal, add in the education advantages, and they say there's a clear
No, I'm just having a nap.
in the children's best
I'm having a nap.
jab. Parents are going to be asked
I'm having a nap.
but it's expected to be a conversation now in homes across the country. And in cases of disagreement between parents and children, if the child is considered competent to make that decision, they will have the final say, as happens with other medical treatment. Now, just one dose they'll get at this stage. Children get such a good immune response, most of the benefit comes from that first dose, and the likelihood of heart inflammation is higher after the second.
So that's the 12 to 15s. What can the over 50s be expecting tomorrow?
Well, the older you are and the more vulnerable, the sooner you're going to get a booster jab. This will be at least 6 months after your second dose of vaccine. It's likely that Pfizer may well be used as the third dose, as has happened with the immunocompromised. 500,000 people are getting a third Pfizer dose, whether or not they got AstraZeneca. And we'll get the full details on that tomorrow. 2 doses of vaccine are still giving very strong protection against serious illness, but a third booster dose will top up immunity, and it's likely to be a flu jab in one arm and the booster dose in the other, because COVID won't be the only threat this winter.
Many thanks again. Phil Sports, our medical editor, with the latest there. Nearly a third of people travelling into England and Northern Ireland between March and may have broken the quarantine rules. An investigation by the BBC has found more than 300,000 cases were passed to investigators during that time. The UK government has not been able to confirm how many of these were found to have broken the rules or couldn't be traced. Our political correspondent Alex Forsyth has the story.
Think back to spring this year. Getting on a plane was only allowed if it was essential. Rules meant to limit the spread of COVID variants. If you did travel from certain countries on a red list, you had to quarantine in a hotel when you landed. Most other travellers had to isolate at home for 10 days. Like Henrik, he arrived back in England in April after visiting family in Poland. He received one call to check he was self-isolating, but he says not much else.
Well, it wasn't effective at all because it didn't track and trace me at all. Like I said, I could have gone out to the supermarket if I was so desired. There was no contact with anybody at all.
Between mid-March and the end of May this year, just over 1 million people arrived in England and Northern Ireland who had to self-isolate for 10 days by law. Scotland and Wales had separate systems. During this period, more than 6 million calls were made to check people were complying. But in more than 300,000 cases, around 3 in 10, there were doubts that rules were being followed, so they were referred for further checks.
People were referred if, for example, they didn't cooperate with phone calls or repeatedly failed to answer. Then they might have had a visit from police or from a private firm employed by the Home Office to ramp up these checks. The government says most people were found to be self-isolating, but it hasn't provided a figure or said how many people couldn't be traced at all.
In a statement, the government said, the Home Office looks to visit all individuals referred to us by NHS Test and Trace who are required to isolate at home following international travel. We visit over 99% of the cases referred to this service. Long-standing critics of the government's broader policy say it demonstrates weaknesses in the system during the period the Delta variant took hold in the UK.
This shows that the problems with the home quarantine system and also the failure to put India on the red list early enough together made it much easier for the Delta variant to spread before the vaccines were fully rolled out. That's what led us then to the third wave and the big delays in being able to lift lockdown restrictions.
International travel is building up again, and with the virus still circulating around the globe, there will be questions about the government's approach, not least if another variant.
Hello, darling.
Alex Forsyth,
Hi, Mum.
News.
You
BBC has obtained and verified footage showing civilians being
she
killed by
doesn't. No, I'm alright, thank you.
It's further verified that more than 20 people have been killed in Panjshir
He
province.
said we mean we didn't bring any food back. We should
Taliban spokesman
be
has
enjoying
denied any
ourselves,
such
aren't we?
killings have taken place. But based on our reporting, says
You can
that
have
they
some
will
chips if you
investigate.
want.
Some of the details in our correspondent Bella Hakim's exclusive report might be distressing.
A reign of terror on the streets of Kabul. The Taliban bundled 2 men into the back of a car. The BBC has established that this disappearance took place in the past few days, in an area of the capital where people are known for their opposition to the Taliban. The Panjshiri community is now desperately searching for any information on the fate of their loved ones. The BBC has also confirmed that the Taliban are committing human rights abuses in the Panjshir Valley. It lies 100 miles northeast of Kabul. A warning, you may find this video distressing. Here, a man in military clothes is dragged away. It's unclear whether he was in the army. This is common dress in the valley. Voices are raised. Seconds later, he's shot several times and killed. We're not showing you those images. A bystander insists the man they've just killed was not in the military. The BBC has confirmed that more than 20 people have been killed since the Taliban entered the province. One of them was a shopkeeper and father of 2 called Abdul Sameh. He was accused by the Taliban of selling SIM cards to resistance fighters. Locals had urged him to leave when the Taliban arrived, but he said he was just a poor man who had nothing to do with war. A Taliban spokesperson told the BBC that civilians are not being targeted.
We'll launch an investigation.
So what's that, Mum? Where did you go?
Information about this case and the
Just
location. However, if some military personnel or
I
militia
can't
attacked
think,
our
don't
soldiers,
ask me.
Yes, you do. You went to Hastings, or did you Eastbourne?
Eastbourne.
Right, and what did you bring back for me?
Nothing. What do you want to bring
So
back?
what?
I
You-
just
you
want
had-
one day
You had a
peace
nice,
away from
nice
here.
lunch, nice lunch, and then you forgot to bring food back.
Why should I bring food back?
What did you get out there?
You don't bring food
All right,
back.
what did you get back there?
Nothing.
Why did you go then?
Peace and stability.
We just went there just to
But these
see
pictures show
everything.
that people
And then
are
your
not
dad
waiting
was
to see
complaining
what
about
the
food
Taliban
when
will
you
I
got
did
back.
give him food lunch
The
hour.
telecommunications cut.
What do you mean you
You
complain
left at
about?
9 o'clock in the morning, Mum.
But
So
the
what?
international community is warning the Taliban that they are watching.
Having a
and that
day
they
off.
will be held accountable
You
for their
don't
actions.
care. You don't worry. You don't care about Daddy. I had to do it all the time. Had a day's rest, didn't I, Nikki?
Yes, Mum. I don't know why he has to be such a little bitch about things, hasn't he? Look at the way he's such a little bitch, isn't he? He's such a little bitch. You know, well, you know, you did actually give birth to a little bitch, but it wasn't me, and it wasn't my sister. It was my brother. He's a little bitch.
Sexually assaulted her in New York, London, and the U.S. Virgin Islands when she was just 17 years old. Allegations that she strongly denies. Now, this first hearing really focused on procedure more so than the allegations.
What? Oh, sorry. I thought that was
Court was notified
just about starting up. Bye.
a lawyer who would represent
Did he complaining? He didn't complain to me.
He said that
He got what he's got.
He's just been a little bitch. That's all. He's just an awful person. I can't stand him.
Secondly, he called this lawsuit baseless.
I
And
didn't
without
need to reach over.
arguing
I didn't.
that a settlement agreement between
I
Virginia
did
Dufresne
not
in 2009 in Florida and Jeffrey
I
Epstein. Of
closed
course,
the
the
fridge.
associate of the
Ah,
twins who
everyone.
committed suicide while awaiting federal charges in court. They believe that that lawsuit essentially releases the Duke from any potential liability. So they have requested a copy of that sealed agreement.
Neda, many thanks once again, Neda Tofik, for us in New York.
If anybody's family's perfect or have a good family, let me know, because I'd love to know what it's like to have a nice family. Or it's like, you know, a normal family. Anybody normal out there? Let me know if you're normal. It'd be nice. I don't know what normal is. What's normal? Let me know and just say, oh wow, that'd be I see all these normal people doing great and loving. Oh well, you know, we could do these, and it's nice. Must be nice to have a. What's it like to be normal? I mean, just normal. I wonder.
He is apparently expected to continue as a guest.
I don't know. I mean, when I say normal, I mean, what is normal? What's your normal? Do you think normal is just like
Big cities are struggling with
just living your life, no trouble, no, you know, no worries, nothing. That's great. What's it like? I mean, what's it like to just not worry about stuff or stuff like that? Do you work?
Biggest and hottest cities in the world, and its residents are suffering. Mother of 5, Khurshid Qadri, is struggling to cope with the searing heat. There is no way she can afford air conditioning.
What's it like to be normal?
In 2015, they endured a 45 degrees Celsius heat wave. 1,200 people died from dehydration and heat stroke. And this year, the temperature is nearly that high again.
Here, in the heart of Karachi, it's almost unbearable to be standing out in the street. It's only 11 o'clock.
I mean, who, if there's no one who is like never worried about anything or doesn't worry about anything or anything like that, nice. What's it like not to ever worry about? I mean, just be happy, or kind of like be happy. Wow, what's it like? That be, it's like just, you know.
This is the first urban forest that Shehzad planted.
Do you ever feel lost or not? Maybe lost, yeah, I don't know. Do you feel lost or do you feel not lost or do you feel, ever felt, you know, that feeling of, I don't know. I don't really know. That, I don't know. You don't know if you're coming or going kind of feeling or.
Urban forestry is being recommended the world over. I think the challenge is to scale it up. I don't think there are very many deniers now. People have understood that it is important. It's just, you know, to walk the talk and put the money where the mouth is. That is what is needed.
But to build more urban forests, Shehzad needs financial support from the authorities. In meeting after meeting with local officials, he gets turned down until finally some good news.
Land is there, the will is there, let's do it. Fantastic. Fantastic, let's do it, man.
He's beginning
Is there anyone out there? Anyone here? Anyone out there? Let me know if you're out there.
One man's effort.
Anybody out there? Hello? No.
Farhad Javed, BBC News, Karachi.
God. News. Interesting, isn't it?
Across BBC outlets in the coming weeks. And there's more on that data in that report just there on BBC's website, bbc.co.uk/news. Emma Raducanu, Britain's first female Grand Slam champion in tennis for 44 years.
Ooh.
Destined to be a global superstar.
Anybody out there? Oh, say hi if you're there. Anybody here?
Trying to take success in her stride. But the $2.5 million she won in prize money in New York could soon be dwarfed by the sums being mentioned in marketing circles, where she's been described as a solid gold prospect. One marketing executive said that there was no limit to what she could achieve. She's one of the most marketable athletes on the planet. Our sports editor Dan Rowan has more details.
18-year-old champion Emma Raducanu. Where should you go out this morning?
Good morning, America. Having conquered the US Open, Britain's
God, he goes to friend visiting, come out, come late, they'll bring food.
Queuing up to speak to the teenage tennis sensation.
If you just do the best you can every single day, time flies and you can really achieve anything within a belief.
Raducanu's been thrown into the spotlight in a way no one predicted after producing one of sport's greatest ever fairy tales. But today, a British Grand Slam winner from a different era warned that the youngster's newfound fame would need to be carefully managed.
She has the potential to be a world number one and a multiple Grand Slam champion. We've got to give her time to develop, and if it doesn't happen within the next 12 months, it probably will happen in the 12 months after that, and we've got to protect her because her world, it's going to hit her like a sledgehammer. I don't think she realises what's coming to her.
Having sprung from relative obscurity just a few weeks ago, Raducanu's now one of the world's most marketable athletes.
大家好，我想说谢谢。
The teenager, whose mother is Chinese, thanking fans in fluent Mandarin, the latest sign of her global appeal.
I think quite quickly her sponsorship earnings off the court will dwarf her prize money on the court. She is the most marketable British athlete since David Beckham because she is the complete package. She's young, she's already winning millions of social media followers, which increases her influence as a brand. She has a multicultural background, and she won her Grand Slam in America, one of the most important consumer markets in the world.
Here at the LTA's headquarters, tennis chiefs insist much more investment is still needed into publicly available park courts and indoor facilities like this one, if Raducanu's success is to translate into a much-needed surge in participation. But there's no doubt the women's game has just had its biggest boost in decades. And today, the men's champion at Flushing Meadows paid this tribute to Raducanu's achievement.
It's like a Cinderella story. I mean, it's just unbelievable because she didn't have a WTA match win outside of Grand Slams. She only has a win in Wimbledon and US Open. I mean, all this story is just for books, actually.
Hello?
Raducanu's hit the big time here in the Big Apple, basking in her newfound fame, and if the pitfalls and pressure that can accompany such attention are
How are you today?
no limit to the impact that she can have.
Why?
How are you all today?
That's it from us. We are just getting reports.
It's okay, Mum, don't worry.
Charlotte Johnson, mother of the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, has died suddenly and peacefully, according to those reports, in a London hospital today. She was 79 years of age.
79?
There'll be more on
Only.
the BBC News Channel for you, but now
God is young, isn't it?
it's time to
Who?
Johnson's mother.
I don't know.
That's just telling you, 79 she died.
Good evening. There's been anger and frustration for motorists today as climate change protests
I'm good, thank you very much. I'm very well, thank you.
Like me.
rush hour, causing severe delays and long
Mm.
tailbacks. Protest group
What did you do? What did you all do today then?
What?
Today?
meaningful commitment.
Oh, nothing, Mum. Don't worry, Mum.
43 people have been arrested, 12 of them at the Swanley interchange. Piers Hopkirk reports.
What did you all do today then? Today?
Why are they complaining about her?
This was the bizarre sight that greeted
Going to
one
bed
commuter
too.
this morning.
Otherwise
A
I'm
handful of
moaned and
protesters
whined.
blocking one of the southeast's busiest road junctions. The Swanley interchange brought to a standstill at
Daddy's
the height
gonna
of
read it
rush hour.
tomorrow.
And while the protest was small,
Mm.
the impact hit thousands. Motorists nose to tail on the M25, creating queues stretching back miles.
This is a
Go to
really
bed.
dangerous act that
Mm.
Good night, have a good day.
Good night, everyone.
resulted
Yeah.
in fatalities, and also trying to block Britain's busiest motorway,
Good
the
night.
biggest bypass.
And you said to me
in
you
the
were going to do
city
something
of
for
Europe.
me.
I did. I phoned Helen.
And what'd she say?
And Helen said she can't do much because Tina's away.
Auntie
She doesn't
Helen.
know.
Auntie Helen.
Auntie Helen had rang. Shall we ring again, Nikki?
What did Auntie Helen say?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I couldn't
She's
get
not
hold of her.
there.
I'll ring again.
Ring her tomorrow then.
Okay, good
Can
night.
I ring again?
Yeah.
Just
God.
Don't do that. Switch.
Time of day, the height of the morning rush hour. Police eventually moved in
Let's
to arrest
ring
the
her.
protesters. They insisted their message
Julian will
calling on the government
get us
to start a
into-
vast home